It's time for a special Saturday news update and the latest episode of Bells and Whistles. Hello everyone, Bill Wilson, Editor-in-Chief of Railway Track and Structures magazine, with a special Saturday news update and the latest episode of Bells and Whistles. With the coronavirus continuing to spread fear across the U.S., transit agencies are now starting to feel the effects of more people working from home and more people simply avoiding public gatherings. In California, Caltrain and VTA have announced cutbacks in service. Next week, Caltrain will cancel the Baby Bullet service between San Francisco and San Jose during the morning and afternoon rush hour. There has been a 75% drop in one-way Caltrain ridership. Meanwhile, school closings have the VTA cutting public transit centered around serving school children. VTA will run one-car light rail trains instead of 2- or 3-car trains. Bay Area Rapid Transit also has been losing riders ever since the coronavirus hit the U.S., but the transit agency is still running at full capacity. Officials at BART, Caltrain, and VTA said more cuts in service could be in store, and BART has plans to shut down its system entirely if necessary. There were fewer commuters taking the New York City subway last week. Officials say ridership was down over 18%, which equates to about 948,000 fewer trips than an average weekday in January. Long Island Railroad was reporting a 31% drop in riders, while the Metro North experienced a 48% decrease. Washington State was the first region hit hard by the coronavirus, and Sound Transit, which includes Link Light Rail and Sounder Commuter Rail, were the first transit agencies in the U.S. to feel the impact of the disease. There were 25% fewer commuters in the month of February compared to January 2020, and between March 2nd and March 9th, there was a 15% decline. Washington, D.C. Metro is expected to implement service cuts after it executed 100,000 fewer trips on Wednesday compared to the same day last week. Cities like Boston, Dallas, and Los Angeles, however, have not experienced the same sharp declines. Some officials are suggesting raising fares to make up for the loss in revenue. If the money is not recovered, some infrastructure projects could be put on hold. And now, the top news stories. RTNS was following the week ending March 13th. Number 4. Go Triangle is circling back on a new commuter rail line that would serve Durham and Johnston counties in North Carolina. Go Triangle tried to move forward with an 18-mile line last year, but was denied by Duke University when it came to needed right-of-way space. The money is in place for a study on a 35-mile route that would be using existing rail owned by the North Carolina Railroad Company, as well as several miles of new track. The project could cost as much as $1.8 billion. Number 3. Called a once-in-a-generation investment, a proposed new rail line for the city of Austin, Texas, will most likely have one crack to sway voters in 2020. State law calls for taxing bodies to place tax increases more than 3.5% on the ballot. Capital Metro shared details of its proposed $9.6 billion Orange Line and reconfigured Blue Line to the Austin City Council on March 9th, and the transit agency could be asking for a whopping 22.5% increase in the city's tax rate. Number 2. The City of Ottawa's light rail system, the Confederation Line, continues to take on heat and lawsuits. Subcontractor Hard Rock is the latest to file a lawsuit against Rideau Transit Group, OLRT Constructors, and the City of Ottawa. Hard Rock claims it experienced several delays on the project, as well as unsanitary working conditions. The subcontractor is asking for $10.8 million for the work done on the Confederation Line project. Hard Rock received a $3 million fine for delays. OLRT denies any wrongdoing and says payments to all of its subcontractors have been made. Number 1. And the coronavirus once again dominated the news wire this week, on top of some transit agencies experiencing declines in ridership. As was reported at the beginning of this newscast, the Brotherhood of Locomotive Engineers and Trainmen wants the rail industry to take the right steps regarding the coronavirus. BLET President Dennis Pierce recently wrote a letter to the National Railway Labor Conference, the American Short Line and Regional Railroad Association, and the American Public Transportation Association. BLET wants attendance policies to be suspended immediately so those individuals who are sick can stay home to recover. Don't forget, the time is now to nominate your outstanding engineer for RTNS's Engineer of the Year honor. The winner will be recognized at ARIMA's annual meeting this September in Dallas. Nominations are due June 26th. To nominate, go to the URL you see on the screen. That's a look at the top news stories we were following the week ending March 13th. For the latest news, go to rtnds.com. You can also find us on social media. We are on Facebook and Twitter. From all of us at RTNS Magazine, take care of yourself and look out for those with pre-existing conditions and the elderly. Have a great weekend, everyone.